First of all, I'd like to dedicate my presentation today to the past and present leadership of Fort Chipewyan, who have for decades voiced their concerns related to industrial development and its subsequent impacts. Dedicated also to the many women, men, and youth who have succumbed to the unprecedented, rare, and aggressive cancers in Fort Chipewyan. My small community of 1,200 people is located approximately 250 kilometers downstream from Alberta's tar sands. Many of our people characterize today the location of the tar sands as unfortunate or even a curse. A curse primarily because of the proven impact, signs, health issues, yet little to nothing is done to address these by those responsible authorities. If our situation today occurred in the developing world, in the third world, this may be accepted, however wrong it is. But this is occurring in Canada, one of the world's wealthiest and developed countries, a country that prides itself in addressing human rights. We have been here for thousands of years, and we will remain here for thousands of years. We will not go away, and we will not let this industry continue to self-regulate, and we will not allow the government of Alberta to continue to relinquish its responsibility in managing this industry. And we will continue to challenge this issue, and by all accounts, we're not losing this public relations battle, as the government and tar sands industry prefer to call it. Finally, not in my own words, but in the words of a Fort Chipewyan community resident who said to Mr. Cameron just yesterday, "Thank you for visiting our community at Fort Chipewyan and showing leadership and wanting to learn and support our community, because it's more than we've ever seen by the government of Alberta." So thank you.
If there is no longer a place where you can meaningfully exercise the right to hunt, fish, and gather, it doesn't make sense to talk about a treaty right to hunt, fish, and gather. That's the heart of the case. Governments no longer destroy a meaningful opportunity to exercise these rights. For a right like to hunt and fish and gather to be meaningful, there has to be a harvestable surplus. So in order to have a harvestable surplus of these animals, medicine plants have to have a healthy environment. You have to have a habitat. What we now know in Canada is the strongest environmental tool, the strongest environmental law is in Canada. That is the protection of Aboriginal treaty rights. Because notwithstanding any statute that Canada might pass or any statute of Alberta might pass, these constitutional protection to habitats necessary to produce a harvestable surplus of fish, game, and medicine plants. The Aboriginal treaty rights is not protected under the is now protected under the Constitution. The Constitution very clearly says that the supreme law of Canada and any law inconsistent with or is no force or effect. The permits that Imperial Oil and all other companies listed in 17,000 permits attached to the statement of claim, those permits we are successful, are not in force and effect. They're canceled, they're worthless pieces of paper. You can't take away the entire base and still claim there's a meaningful opportunity to exercise treaty rights. That's absurd. And that's what is happening. The entire land base is being destroyed. The world hasn't seen something like this before. This is the most destructive project on earth. The Beaver Lake Cree Nation are taking the biggest industrial forces in the world, the biggest oil companies, and the wealthiest companies in the world. We are, in order to save us from the catastrophe that is the tar sands, it is a sad fact that Canada, that main impediment about Aboriginal peoples to achieve justice is lack of money. It's tough.
There's two issues that bring me here. The first one, of course, is what I just said, the threat of to our coast, but also the fact that that pipeline links us to the tar sands. And this is my second trip looking at the tar sands, flying over it. And I have to say to you all that the impact on me was just as great this time as it was the first time around. And this time I was thinking, as we flew over the tar sands, that a few years ago, a decade or two ago, many of us in this room would have looked at the pictures that are coming out of the tar sands these days and given our head a shake in wonder at how can these countries who are allowing this to happen to their homelands stand by and watch it happen. Because I think we'd associate those pictures with third world countries being forced to endure this kind of degradation to their territories. The year 2010, and it's happening to us. It's been happening for a while, and it's got to stop. I think most people agree with that we have to err on the side of caution. So in closing, we're here to support the work of the Cree, and we are prepared as an organization and community to work with any and all groups, including the Cree, the AFN, the Indigenous Environmental Network, who've done a lot of work on this, and I thank them for that, on the issue of the tar sands and related activities as it relates to this great country called Canada. So thank you for hearing us, and thank you to the Cree for hosting us.